have here a large stack. It's not even the full stack, to be perfectly honest with you, because I would not be able to lift it. We're doing the fall TBR. Hello, welcome back to my channel. There is a fly in here and it's going to drive me nuts. I have been doing my monthly TBR videos on short form for quite a while, and I thought, why not do a fall wrap up on Maine, especially because the vlogs are currently paused. I have a lot of physical books that I want to get through in this back half of the year. I'm currently filming this in August, and this is what I'm hoping to start come September, and I'm hoping I can read it September to November. I used to average about 10 books a month, so that's like 30 books I could potentially read between September 1st and November 30th. I'm gonna give myself that goal and I'm gonna see if I can do it. The main thing I do have to keep in mind though is that this is just the physical books that I have. This is not including any books that I've put on hold on my Libby app that might come through in the next 3 months. This isn't including any audiobooks that I might just download on a whim to break up some of these books, because I am focusing a lot on fantasy in this back half of the year, and I'm gonna want some romance books to break that up. So what I end up reading in the next 3 months could look a little different, but that's okay. There are a couple places that I keep books in my apartment. One, if it comes in and it's an advanced reader copy, that goes to a specific shelf in my bedroom. I had a giant stack from the springtime on my nightstand, so I pulled a bunch of books off of that list. And then we've got this lovely bookshelf behind me, which I have blurred out. This top shelf though is all to be read. One of my goals for this year was to read all the books on that top shelf, and I have failed quite miserably. So I'm hoping to get through at least a handful of books on that top shelf by the end of the year. So we're gonna start not there. We're gonna start with the books that I currently have in front of me, and then we'll pull off the shelf a couple of books that I would like to read through the fall. Let's get into it, because this is a long list. And starting off, I have 2 books that I have already started and I have sort of paused waiting for a cooler season to read them in. The first is The Daughter of Winter and Twilight. This is the sequel to Queen of Coin and Whispers by Helen Corcoran. This is an advanced reader copy that I received a year ago, and I'm so embarrassed. I am enjoying it. I just was not in a headspace to read it, and I needed to accept that. I picked it back up about a week ago and read a couple chapters, and I was like, okay, when I can just like have 2 days to sit down and read this and like be chilly with a cup of tea, I'm gonna be in the right zone for this. So I'm waiting for the perfect day, and I know it's going to come. We also have The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. I was really looking forward to this book, and I am about halfway through. I've been reading the physical arc as well as the audiobook, and it's one I've just been slowly picking my way through. Again, I think I really need that like vibe to be set. The mood was not correct. And now we have all new to me books, so we're just gonna go now in a random order. This was in my mid-year book freakout tag, Carmilla. This is by Sheridan Le Fanu, I believe. And this is what inspired Dracula. I'm very excited to read this. I think spooky season is gonna be the perfect time, and I can't wait. I'm a little embarrassed that I've been holding on to these books and I haven't read An Education in Malice or Evocation by S.T. Gibson yet. And I was really looking forward to reading them. They were some of my most anticipated reads of the year. So these are being priority reads for the fall. These are going to be. I want to balance some of the like spooky hardcore stuff with some cozy stuff. So we have The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is a very beautiful copy that I was sent. I'm really looking forward to curling up with this. My dad is going to be so excited that I'm prioritizing this book. He has been trying to get me to read this for so long, to the point where he just gave me a copy, because he was like, I keep telling you to read this, and I feel like if I just give you a copy, you'll read it. And I was like, well, that is true, because if it's in my apartment and I see it and I'm feeling guilty about it, I'll read it. This is by Sergei Lukyanenko, Night Watch. My dad really likes it, so we'll see what I have to say. I do want to keep some romance books in the mix, so we have All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. My friend Danielle, who I co-host my podcast with, loves this book. This is one of her favorite Mariana Zapata books, so I don't know why I've just been like putting off reading this. The cover of this is so intriguing to me. This is A Lethal Lady by Nekesa Afia. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this is in Paris during the 1920s, I believe. Yes, 1928. So I'm really intrigued to read this. It's just sort of been chilling on my shelf, and I think the time has come. Again, really prioritizing fantasy books. So this is Song of the Huntress by Lucy Holland. I have no preconceived notions about this. I was sent it. I think the cover is really cool and I'm intrigued. Back at the beginning of the summer, I was invited to a preview event for some books being published by Mariner Books and William and Morrow coming next year. And one of those books was The Float Test by Lynn Seeger Strong. And it sounded like something I was really intrigued to read, and I think will be a really great fall read. I am also planning on reading the other two books from the preview throughout the fall, but I think to not overwhelm myself, I just chose one that I would definitely read by the end of November. And now we're getting to some chunky books. First up, we have Warrior of the Wind by Suyi Davies Okumboa. At the beginning of the year, I read Son of the Storm, and the sequel came out pretty close to me finishing it. So I think it is time to dive back into this world and see what Suyi has in store for his characters. This book has been staring at me since I was sent it. It is Sons of Darkness by Gaurav Mohanty, and I'm really excited to read this. I think the size of it has just been intimidating to me, which is funny because I historically love large books. This is a priority for sure. And the last book in this stack in front of me is Fatebreaker by Victoria Aveyard. This was also in my mid-year book freakout tag, so I'm not going to say too much about it other than I don't know why I haven't read it yet and I'm really excited to read it. Okay, time to go through the shelf, shall we? Up first, these first two books. Black Swans by Eve Babbitt. This is a book my brother gave me a while ago, and I'm trying to prioritize reading some of the smaller books on my shelf. And I've just heard some really great things about it, so I want to not put it off anymore. Then sitting next to that on the shelf is The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. I loved The Vampires of El Norte, and I've been wanting to read this, and it's just been sitting on my shelf. I don't know what I'm waiting for. This Book Won't Burn by Samira Ahmad. I went to the launch event for this, and I have been just honestly putting it off. I don't know why, but I feel like going into the new year, the new school year, I should say, and just really thinking about where we are politically and all of that going into the fall, I think it's going to be time to read this. It can't be a fall TBR without some witchy books. The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin has been on my shelf since it came out. Why? Because we weren't sure if any of the books after the first launch would have this cover, and I wanted to own it. So I think this is the year I'm finally gonna read it. Again, sticking with the witchiness, I haven't read a V.E. Schwab book yet this year, I don't think. So one, I'll probably reread the Shades of Magic series, but also I think it's time that I finally read the first book that V.E. Schwab published, The Near Witch, and I'm really excited about it. When fall comes around, I want to watch Studio Ghibli films, and I would really like to watch a lot of the ones that I haven't seen, because I haven't seen majority of them, but I would also love to rewatch Howl's Moving Castle after reading the book. I either got this, there are two ways. I don't think I got it I don't think I got it in the little free library that I frequent. I am pretty sure we have like a little book recycling area in my building where people just leave books that they are done with, and I frequently leave things down there, and I'm pretty sure I picked this up and I was really excited about it. So again, kind of small, fantasy-y, checks off two of the things I'm trying to achieve this year, or at the end of this year, I should say. Last year I started the Farseer trilogy. I haven't read any of the books continuing, but I do own them, so I think I will try to read Royal Assassin this fall. We've got a little spooky looking book. This is In the House in the Dark of the Woods by Laird Hunt. Again, I think my brother gave this to me for Christmas a couple years ago, so it's time. I have a lot of chunky books so far on my TBR, so I'm not sure that I'm gonna get to either of these, but I would really love to read Sword of Kaigen and A Brief History of Seven Killings. Again, they're right next to each other on the shelf, but they are pretty large, and especially combined, so I'm not quite sure. I also don't even know how many books we are up to and if this is even a conceivable TBR at this point. And off the second side of this shelf, I've grabbed The Book of Gothel by Mary McMinn. I think Mary has another book coming out pretty soon, if not it like just released, and I've been wanting to read this since I bought it, so now is the time. Okay, I'm gonna put up a little count of how many books that is, and we'll see if it is feasible that I make my way through even half of these books. But I think I can do it. I think I can prioritize these books and make it happen. And I'm really excited about it. Please let me know in the comments, what are some books that you have coming up on your fall TBR that you are really excited to read? Do we have any overlapping books? Are there any books that we're gonna get to talk about together? Let me know. And that is it for today's video. I will see you in the next one. Please make sure you're subscribed and you can follow me on my other socials down below. Bye.